Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is the second video of the Jungle Fundamentals series, and we are going to be covering jungle tracking. And I promise that we won't just be looking at a map for the whole video. There will be some gameplay to show you guys what exactly I'm talking about. First of all, what is jungle tracking? Jungle tracking is simply keeping track of where the enemy jungler is, or as I like to call it, my legitimate map hacks. This is an incredibly useful skill, but it is also very difficult to master. However, I'm here to try and break it down into some simple tips that you guys can easily remember and use in your own games. The easiest way to track the jungler is, surprise surprise, if you can see them. And whenever we do see them, this gives us some really important information to help us try and predict where the enemy jungler might go next. So we know that seeing the enemy jungler is important because then we know if we need to be careful or not. So I'm going to talk a little bit about wards which you can put as laners in the early game. So if you're on the top side of the map, I really like this ward on the Krugs. The reason why I prefer ward over here than in this bush here is because you get to see if the jungler is on the rocks, as opposed to this ward, which only tells you very late if the jungler is even coming to gank you at all. So if you put a ward on the Krugs, you can see if he's starting there, or if he's going to be finishing his clear on the Krugs, then you know he might gank you, and then you have to be careful. Another one I like a lot is if you're a mid laner, if you can get a ward over here somewhere on his raptors, that's also really useful because then we know where the jungler is. And similarly, if you're on the bottom side of the map and you have the opportunity to go ward, it's really great if you can get a ward somewhere over here just so we can see the blue buff and the gromp. Again, these wards are really useful, not just for you but for your whole team, because the main time you're getting ganked in the early game is from the jungler, right? So if you know where he is, then you know that you don't have to be worried if he's not near you, or maybe you have to be a bit safer if he is. One really important tip for laners is that the jungler will be level 5 at 2 minutes most games. So if you haven't seen the enemy jungler and your jungler is not near you, I would recommend that around this time you just play a little bit safe, maybe go get some extra wards down if you have time, just to be careful of a potential enemy gank, because this is a good time for them where they finish clearing their jungle, that they have a bit of spare time to go and do stuff. Okay, so now we are going to look at some examples in game so you guys can understand what exactly I am talking about. Okay, so here is an example where we have no vision on the enemy jungler, so I'm just going to be doing a normal clear from blue to red. But let me just talk quickly about why I don't like these wards in the river over here, which was probably by my mid laner, and over here by the bot lane, because no one is going to be walking over here anyways, right? The Veigar is staying mid, the bot lane is not going to do anything, so it would be much more useful if we had a ward here or a ward over here, so we knew what the Talon was up to. But that is okay. Instead, I'm just finishing my clear and I'm thinking maybe I can look for a gank on the, sorry, not for a gank, for the scuttle crab. But we see the Talon has taken it. Okay, so what do I do here? I check, because I'm pretty sure there's no chance he can be level 5 yet, right? Because I cleared all my camps, I didn't waste any time, and he would have been doing the same thing. And I open up the scoreboard just to check. You can see he has similar gold to me, and he's still level 4, which means he still has one camp to do. So what do? Well, I'm going to recall, right? I'm going to recall right away because I know where he is, and I ping exactly on the map where I think he is. He is most likely going to be on this crab, on his gromp, as I said, right over here. And now we even see he's gone for a gank down here. So what do? Well, based on where he starts, I know that this is going to respawn, right? So we get this, and I know he's still coming out of base. So what can we do? We can go for a quick gank onto the Jinx and just go on and continue our clearing after that. Alright, and this is going to be an example where we do actually have vision. I think I was playing with some pre-mates, so I told them this ward is very nice over here, and wow, would you look at that, we see the monkey on our screen, which is great. And we see interestingly that he actually started red buff. So that's just, you know, very helpful thing already, showing that the ward is useful. But I would assume now that he will just, you know, do his chickens and then maybe look to go topside. However, you'll see, yeah, now we see that he's just ganked topside, right? And now I'm thinking, okay, as you guys know from my previous video, I really hate this, ganking before you're level 5, because you'll see in a second, he's going to be so cooked now in terms of level. So I'm about to hit level 4. Let's just watch what happens. I'm about to be level 4 and we can see he's taking this crab over here. Okay, perfectly fine. What am I going to do? Take this crab. And then, well, we know, because we've been tracking him the entire game, he has to come to his blue side. So what do? We go in, we fight him. I could have played this better, but again, that's not the point. We get his blue buff just because, you know, he messed up. You see, we were level 5 and he was level 3. He had nothing, there was nothing he could do, right? He can't fight us. So if we played it better, we maybe got a kill. But now, the most important thing is we're so far ahead of tempo because we know he starts to clear his blue side. So now I could take his rocks if I want to, or I can even go for a nice dive over here. Again, I'm playing it on 2x speed because the actual mechanics and everything is not what's important. Obviously that was a really crazy double kill by me. But what matters is we took advantage of the fact that he doesn't watch my videos and went for an early gank, and this already put us in a great position to snowball and win the game. Okay, so let me summarize what I have covered in this video. First of all, the enemy jungle will be level 5 at 2 minutes. So if you haven't seen them, be careful at around this time because this is the best time for them to come gank. So just play safe for like 20-30 seconds and then you can go back to, you know, running it down completely fine. The next thing is warding. So we want to ward either the rocks, the chickens, or the blue buff area. Okay, and I already talked a little bit about why this is good, but it's just so we can see where the enemy jungler is. And obviously, I mean, this is just for the early game, right? Later on, ward the river, sure, of course, makes sense. But early game, the only person you're really going to get ganked by is the jungler. So knowing where they are is the most important thing. And finally, how are you supposed to track the enemy jungler later on in the game after they've done their first clear? Well, here's the important thing to remember. Which side, remember which side they started on. Okay, why is this important? Well, if you guys both start on the same side, if you start blue buff and they start on their red side, then, surprise, surprise, once you guys have both done your clear, once you reset and base, you guys are going to be on the same side again. So, why is this important to know? If you guys are on the same side, then if start same side, then you have to be very careful when you are ganking, right? Because they can counter gank. And you know, this is, if you don't think about this, this could be really bad, right? So this is the most important thing to remember if they start the same side. But otherwise, if they start opposite side, then you have to be less worried about ganks. But the lane which you're not near has to be more careful. But that's not really your problem, you know. If they die, they die. It is what it is. So yeah. The main things I want you to take away are these two, and you know, for you guys, I'm making a Bayek's Bible, you know, just things you should always remember when you're playing the game. And the things we've got so far are always full clear, beware of the enemy jungle being level 5 at 2 minutes, and ward the rocks, chickens and blue buff early game. And that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.